So, hello girls. You look so spiritual in the grass.
We are.
For the viewers, this is Annemieka's garden. But actually you don't own it, right?
It's true, yeah.
Whose garden is it?
Nobody owns it.
So I can take it now.
You can take it, yeah. You have to ask serious questions, well, otherwise nothing comes out.
Now I know. I know you by now. So, I just talked with DJ, and he said you and he are like the leaders of the non-dual meetup group.
In Oroville, we are the organizers,
yeah?
Facilitators, I wouldn't say leaders. But we kind of initiated it and kind of put the setting in place. People come and yeah, it's nice.
Oh, and most people here in Oroville, they are busy with Sri Aurobindo and the mother.
Yeah.
How do they react to your non-dual meetup group?
Well, it's nothing against any religion because it's just seeing things without any filters, uncluttered. So it's not against Sri Aurobindo and the mother's teaching at all because it's just part of existence. It's the way existence functions.
Yeah.
It's the way life is. And if you go into the teachings of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, there is non-duality present.
Yeah.
It's just there because.
So true.
Yeah.
And during the meetings, what is the most frequently asked question for people who participate?
Oh shit! Now I have to think.
Yeah.
They all want to know what to do. What is it that you can do to reach the goal? And the goal is enlightenment or awakening.
And Lisa, what should people do?
Whatever they do.
Good, back to Annemieka. But it's so hard for people to not to do something.
You can only point to the fact that there is nobody doing anything. There is no doership.
Yeah.
And that is too abstract for the person who thinks he wants to reach somewhere. So it's the contracted individual who wants to get somewhere and reach the goal. It is impossible.
So this is the toughest philosophy for an individual, you think?
What do you think?
For the individual, but it seems there's some body-mind mechanisms that are programmed to be interested in it, even though it's impossible for that individual to hear.
Yeah.
Are drawn towards it. A bit like the mosquito to the, or the flies to those fires. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah.
Where they
Fireflies.
No, they're flies, and then humans put down these machines which the flies are attracted to, and then they go, they die when they touch it.
But it's the same as they go to the light bulb, and they're all stuck to it, right?
Yeah. Similar to that. But
Las Vegas is one mosquito light bulb attraction place.
But this one they properly set on fire. They go to it, they're attracted to it, and then it's a bit like.
Oh, really?
You've never seen them before?
No. It's a nice metaphor for enlightenment.
Yeah, it is.
To burn. So why do people seek enlightenment?
Well, they are attracted for. They don't really know. It just happens. So at one point this message resonates and they have no choice. They just go after it.
Yeah.
Want to read more, hear more, maybe because of suffering, or maybe because an idea of happiness somewhere, eternal bliss.
But then, can there be bliss without the opposite?
Well, there is an emptiness which is not empty, where the opposites kind of fall away. Not that they don't exist, but they are not, how would you say that? It's kind of immaculate, no? This emptiness cannot be touched. So good and bad happens, but that is undisturbed, unmoved.
Is that why you call it the emptiness, Lisa?
Yeah, I love that word actually. Not many people speak too much of emptiness because it sounds quite negative. But yeah.
Well, it's actually the base of everything.
The emptiness thing.
And in a way it's so beautiful because emptiness just accepts everything as it is.
Yeah.
Just as it is, accepts everything.
But for some people this might sound so nihilistic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, emptiness is quite a strong word, but I love it. Emptiness.
So in a way, I guess people are looking for this emptiness because then the suffering also falls away.
That we're
because
looking.
the opposites are gone, and then
Yeah.
my suffering will have to get better.
And people, I asked this question also to DJ. I'm not gonna tell you his answer. If you look at the Indian culture, you think Indian people are less identified than we are in the West?
I think in the village where people grow up in maybe big families and in circumstances which are not very comfortable, it's financially maybe very tight. I don't think that they are very conditioned when they grow up because there is not much scope for choice. They cannot choose if they want this to eat or that. I don't like this because no, they just have to eat what's there. So the idea of choice is not much there, and they just have to go with the flow of life. Whatever presents itself happens to be there.
That's what you said this afternoon, Lisa. If they can't compare, then that's just what is.
Yeah.
So is television the most dangerous thing?
Well, I don't know. But it does seem that if you don't have that possibility to compare and think this life of a Western life would be so much better if they've not been growing up with that TV, then they're not going to have that imagining of better so much.
Yeah.
Whereas in the West, where we've got a good lifestyle, we have an imagining of even better, of really rich, super rich, where you have people that serve you and big cars, and so there's this imagining of even better, even though the life is comfortable as it is.
Yeah, and it seems no matter how much we buy and get and achieve, it doesn't seem to make us that much happier in the West.
No, I think in the West also the culture has been so brainwashed with the idea that what is here right now is not good enough.
Yeah.
Because it always has to be more beautiful, more comfortable. It's always moving towards wanting things to be better, so what's here right now is not good enough. And if you grow up in a small village in India with not much choice, you just see how things are, and then...
Yeah. It's also, I was asking Devi Bala, she was the manager of the orphanage, and I was asking her, so are you happy? And she looked at me like, that's a silly question. Of course I'm happy. So, but in the West, especially when I coach people one-on-one, they're constantly, every day they're busy, do I feel good? Am I happy enough? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I think they also, maybe they come to your talks to feel more happy about their life, you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, what do you offer them, Lisa?
Fuck all. But it's terrible because the poor Western people are so much continuously looking at their states, what you feel, what your state is, and imagining better. So constantly inward looking, how do I feel, what do I feel, name your emotions, like improve your emotions. And again, and it's this world of comparison. I would prefer not to feel like this. I would like to feel like that, and it's impossible. Life can only ever be as it is and what's happening.
So when you look at spirituality, when I see the businessmen, they take their thoughts completely serious,
Yeah.
and then you get spirituality and suddenly your feelings.
Yeah.
It's the same joke, isn't it?
Yeah, like in the pottery we have a manager. He's called Krishnamurti, just by chance, and he works for us since 20 years. And in 20 years, I've not seen him angry or irritated. He's always just there, doing the things which need to be done with dedication. It's amazing. But if you say something about it, he wouldn't know what is so special about it, because he has not learned to reflect.
Yeah.
How do I feel? What do I need? What do I think? He's just there in the flow of life, and it's quite amazing.
It's also with Logu, our taxi driver. It seems he's not asking himself the question, is this my life? Is this really what I want? Driving a taxi every day to serve my family. He just drives taxi.
And he supports like 8 people on his wage. Hang on.
8.
So his 2 children, his wife, his mum and dad, and his granddad. 6. So and himself 7. 7 bodies. And some cats, I think, as well.
And the idea of what poverty is has really changed within me. And how did it with you when you first came to India?
At first, I kept thinking, oh, that's really poor. And then I saw poorer and was like, okay, so that's not so poor. And then I saw poorer. And I realised that maybe I would never get to a line of poverty. So at first I thought that maybe people living in slums was really poor. Then I saw people living in like tents, you know, like on the roadside with those things, and I was like, okay, that's really poor. Then I saw people having like a little area on the side of the pavement. I was like, okay, that's really poor. Then I saw people living in the garbage, and I was like, oh, that's really poor. And I kept going down and down and down. I think the garbage is the lowest they've seen so far.
They lived like monkeys, you said.
Yeah, in the garbage, picking through.
Yeah. But when we were visiting Logu in his house, it's amazing that in 2 years my whole conditioning about poverty has changed. We came in and you were saying, well, they got, how do you call it on the streets? Cement? Pavement. You said, oh, a luxurious village with pavement. And we came in his house, and of course they just sleep on the floor.
Just one room for the family.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's good. For India. I was like, when you compare it to the West, obviously it's not so good. But in that life, like when I first come to India, I'd have thought that was poor, but that's not poor.
And
they're doing well.
Do you think these people are less or more happy than we are?
More happier than Westerners.
Because?
Because they don't have the constant reflecting on what they're feeling and what they would like, and they're not imagining better. There's just action happening. There might be a bit of imagining going on, but no way like Westerners. They're not sitting there dreaming about a bigger house. A bit, there's a working towards it, but not much. It's like eating thali. Yeah.
So, actually, these body-mind mechanisms have more surrender to life than we have in the West.
Yeah, and that's the really funny bit in the West. They got so much more. We thought that life would be better with so much more, but then we started contemplating better too much. We started contemplating the idea of growth too much, and who we were and what was important for us and what we need. We became the center of the world.
Yeah. Because I found it amazing. We were in this rural village. That this lady, she stood up and she just said, we worked 14 hours. I forgot what she...
We had no toilets.
Oh yeah.
So you have to go out in the forest like this. And There's no toilets, and our husbands drink too much alcohol.
Oh yeah.
But we're happy.
When we are sad, we are sad.
And then after that, she went, and when we're sad, we're sad. And when we're happy, we're happy. It was very cute.
And we were like, oh, that's it.
And the idea of the divine or maybe consciousness is so close to them that when you just say to people, a ton of people around you, for instance, Yella avan Seidan, which means this is all God's work, or
Yeah.
Yella me kareve, means everything is the divine.
Yeah.
They immediately know what you mean, and they open up and they smile because they feel it's like that. Divine is everywhere and it's so close. It's beautiful.
Sitting here with Hans Laurentius, my dear friend. We talked to each other a couple of times in Dutch,
Yeah.
and now for the first time in English.
Mm-hmm.
You give meetings,
Yeah.
and you talk to people one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting in the same couch I'm sitting right now,
Right.
and I see tissues here. Is this subject people, or the subjects people bring into this room, are they so loaded with things that make them cry?
Sometimes. Or they have a cold.
That can be also, yeah.
But sometimes emotional issues arise and, well, tears cannot be avoided always, so
But you're no therapist.
no. But still, I sometimes confront people with issues or things, and that may hit, so
Yeah.
and people start to cry or something releases and it gives a few tears. It's not that they're crying all the time, mostly not, but it happens sometimes. So
Yeah. And can you tell me, why is it that when you touch something inside me that I haven't felt for a long time,
mhm.
that it automatically brings up a big emotional response?
Well, exactly like you said, because it's repressed for a long time, and basically everything seeks release, so it wants to be liberated.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes up, and usually we hold it back. But if you don't, it just releases itself, and it can bring tears or laughter or anger or silence.
Yeah. And how come we hold so much back?
We're afraid to feel everything. So as a child we learned to repress certain feelings because it's too overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And for a kid that's 4 years old, you can understand that when parents have a row, for instance, or somebody is drunk or whatever, it's very scary for the kid. It can't handle it. So there's a sort of emotional decision not to feel everything completely. And afterwards, when you're 30 or 40, you have really learned not to feel things properly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an automatic system, a conditioning to hold it back, and the show must go on, and don't show your weakness, and because having emotions is considered weakness. It's not, it's just energy moving. And so we move along and withholding, repressing, and well, at some point it will burst. And it can be in a private session, but it can happen anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And is there a certain age until when that repressing no longer works, or is it different?
No, some people live to be 100 and are masters in repression. So, and some people usually get into a sort of a crisis, and then they cannot repress it anymore, and then a change may occur, or not.
May.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because when I start feeling again all these emotions, I could grab a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
Or wine.
Yeah, sure. Or run to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and if you're unlucky, he will give you some pills which will repress.
Yeah.
And in some cases, obviously, it's necessary, because if somebody's really exploding, and getting psychotic or suicidal, something needs to happen, obviously, but usually it's more helpful to teach people how to feel and observe. Then there is a change possible towards a more adult behavior or even awakening.
Yeah.
But it's only for some, so I get it that people grab onto something or some therapy which calms it down again, or start to meditate to be calm again, instead of allowing things to release themselves.
Yeah. And are these only things from my childhood, or also from, let's say, 2 years ago when my girlfriend broke up and I didn't feel it at the time?
Everything that you didn't completely feel and didn't completely face.
But how do I know that I didn't completely feel or face?
You will notice when something similar happens.
Ah.
So if you have 2 breakups in the past and another one is pending, you will start to feel very anxious and uncertain, and will observe all kinds of unnatural behavior to avoid the repetition of that situation.
Yeah.
So you may start to please more or be aggressive. Depends on how your programming is.
Yeah.
And that's usually all kinds of old stuff mixing with the new stuff. But it's kind of similar, so you get a response based on the avoidance.
Yeah. So we start pleasing one another. We have to save this relationship.
Yeah, sure.
Not because that I love that girl or woman or man, but because I don't want to feel
Yes.
past breakups.
Yes, exactly. The terror is too big. You have the conviction that you cannot handle it, that you will go insane or die or something dramatic.
That's never the case.
It could be, but usually no.
No.
I sat with people feeling through quite intense stuff, and they didn't go mad and they didn't die. And if they experience that a couple of times, they get a new faith in their own system. They start to learn, hey, I believe that I cannot handle it, but the actuality teaches me that I can.
Yeah.
And then slowly it sinks in that it's more productive to sit with a strong feeling or walk with it and be with it, meet it, than to avoid it or start drinking or
Eating,
whatever.
Yeah. So it's about the fear of feeling.
Yes, it's very important.
Okay, so if I understand you right, and we got that fear in childhood because we couldn't feel everything at that moment.
Yeah. We were unable.
Our system wasn't ready.
Yeah, the brain wasn't ready yet.
Yeah. And from what age is the brain ready? When you're fully grown, or 14, or can you say something about that?
It depends. Usually people tell me that at like 20, 22, the brain is completely equipped. But it all depends on circumstances. When you have the luck to grow up with really adults, they will probably teach you by words or experience that it's okay to feel sad, and they won't give you a cookie or a toy or tell you to shut up, or they will invite you to meet the feeling. Well, those kind of kids will probably have less resistance. Other kids who are constantly told shut the fuck up or are distracted all the time, kid is sad, put on the TV, give it a lollipop, they will never learn that it's better to meet. So it depends on the people around you too.
Yeah. I come from a Catholic family where everything was put under the carpet.
Yeah.
And when someone was really angry or sad or crying, shh, don't let the neighbors hear it.
Well, there you go.
That could
repression.
Be a condition also.
Yes, sure, that helps. Of course, the adults teach you to keep it in.
Yeah.
To not show, to not talk about it, to not...
Be a man.
Be a man, don't cry. Boys, don't cry.
The cure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it for men? Do you meet more men who have difficulty with expressing their feelings or feeling their feelings than women?
Yeah, it's a good distinction because it's basically about feeling the feelings,
not
not
expressing.
talking about it all the time,
Yeah.
which is a bore. People talking about their feelings all the time. Come on, you know.
And it's also postponing the feeling. Talking about the feelings is...
The funny thing is, when you really learn to feel through intense emotions, there will be hardly any need to talk about it, because when it's felt through, it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's hard to talk about something that is not there.
Yeah.
So all the talking about it, it's a little bit better than repressing it, because at least it moves a little, but it's not the end.
Yeah.
It's just helping it to move, but still we're not really feeling. And a lot of the talking will be about, why does this occur? Oh, poor me. Don't you think I'm pitiful? Or you gotta help me. You know, so it's still all in the ego domain. While feeling through is in essence an activity or a natural movement of consciousness. Consciousness meets everything immediately. It has no fear. It tends to move towards suffering instead of away from it. So in the natural state, what would I have to talk about emotionally? When it arises, it is seen and felt, and afterwards it will dissolve. There's hardly anything to talk about.
Yeah. So what we really are doesn't say no to...
No, it doesn't know no.
It doesn't
It
know
doesn't
no.
no, it doesn't react anything.
Reject, yeah.
Yeah.
What does reject?
It's the fear system. So ego is a movement of fear. So the things we hear in our head, don't go there, don't feel this, or you'll go insane.
Yeah.
It's basically fear using words. And it's what we call thinking, but it's not thinking. It's fear talking. And we associate or identify with the fear talker.
Yeah.
That's what we call the false self or the ego.
Yeah.
It's always fear. Consciousness knows no fear. It meets everything. It's like this space, this room. We're totally welcome here. And we can dance or have a conversation or a fight. It's all cool.
Yeah. But there's something inside us, you call it the fear talker, that's a great statement, great name, that tries to avoid pain.
Yeah.
And does it also seek pleasure?
Yes, sure it does.
As a substitute or something
Yes,
to look at?
Yeah, to compensate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
no, I don't want this. Give me a happy movie. I can name, for example, when I'm at somebody's home and they have music on who is very melancholic, music that, is a little bit depressing. I would say, oh man, please put on something happy. Is that my
It could be.
fear
It
system?
could be a little bit of the fear that you don't want to feel your inner sadness.
Yeah,
So keep it happy, keep it, let's say, superficial.
yeah,
On the other hand, we can also have another movement that people tend to, let's make it more personal. I used to be depressed when I was a teenager. And sometimes the depressive feeling would tend to dissolve. And what did I do? Smoke another joint, put on some depressing music, so I went back into it. I was kind of addicted of feeling down. And a lot of people are very comfortable in a strange way with feeling not happy.
yeah,
Because that's what they know. So a lot of people that I meet here as well, and we have a talk, they open up and they feel the natural state, which is relaxed and open and comfortable. Not really bliss, not an ecstatic thing, but it's really good and quiet and complete. Within 5 or 10 minutes, thoughts will come up to try to fuck it up. Because they don't know how to be open and good.
yeah,
They don't know how to be happy for longer than, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then there's some restlessness. If there's not a problem, who am I?
yeah. Osho gave a great talk about that, the attachment to misery.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. It's a strange phenomenon, but if you're starting to be aware of that, then you have a chance.
but does that attachment to misery gives us a sense of self.
Yes, exactly.
Me, the one who always gets the blame. Me,
Yeah.
who always
Mhm.
gets the bad stuff in his life.
Yes. Then you're somebody, something. You could even say that without a core of misery, who are you then?
Mm.
If there's no problem to be solved, if there's no
Drama.
drama, who am I without my problems?
Yeah, yeah.
You know? Yeah, that happened because my sister or my father
Mhm.
or my mother was
Yeah.
absent, or
Yeah,
that defines me.
yeah,
No, it doesn't, but we believe it does.
yeah. For example, my father has the same thing. I also have tinnitus in his ear,
Mm.
and he got it about 2 years ago when he was drilling holes in the how do you
In the
call
wall?
it? In the wall, yes.
Mhm.
And he, every time I see him, he talks to me. Oh, I shouldn't have got the tinnitus. I shouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
How could I be so stupid to drill those holes in the wall without using ear protection? Every time
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Well, there you go.
It has become his new identity.
Yes, yes.
Me, the tinnitus
Yeah.
sufferer.
Yeah, and give me attention because of that.
But what is the right way to respond to such thing? Not?
That there is not a ground rule. You know, when you're present, you can never know what you will do.
Mm-hmm.
It is unlikely, though, to move along and sing the sad song along with somebody. So maybe you will burst out in laughter at one moment, or the next time, shut the fuck up about it. Or it could be anything.
Yeah.
Or you could give him a hug,
Mm-hmm.
or give him earplugs anyway,
Yeah.
or give him a new drilling machine, which will drill some more,
Yeah.
maybe it will go.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah. There are college teachers of yours who say, just go fully into the story with them.
Yeah, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that if this situation arises, that is the right
Yeah.
response. Because then we're talking about rules.
Yeah.
Freedom knows no rules. So you never know.
Yeah. Freedom knows no rules.
Yeah, otherwise it's not freedom, but a code.
Yeah. And what we are is that freedom.
Yes. And if you live like that, you never know what you're going to do. And that's scary for the fear guy.
Why is that scary?
It likes to do things right. It's afraid to make mistakes. It's afraid to be judged or kicked out or not loved. Freedom isn't afraid of that, so
Yeah. And for you as living as that freedom, how does that work with friendships and relationships, and are they still important to you?
yes, but not in the way as before. Not to fill a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Not like using your friends to get rid of anxiety, or what we talked about before. I used to be restless and fearful and anxious, so I surrounded myself with so-called friends all of the time. Did I really need to be with those friends? Was it love? I don't think so. I think it was an avoidance strategy.
Yeah.
When we would talk or make music or drink or whatever, or go to a pub or whatever, you didn't have to feel all this restlessness.
Yeah.
I think it was about that more. Not that I didn't also love them. Sure, it's always mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't even like that anymore. You know, going to a pub or
No.
seeking. When there's something in the system, the tendency is to look at it and feel it, and not to run to something or someone.
Yeah.
So friendships are still important, but it's without need.
Yeah. And that changes the quality of the friendship, or
It can also destroy it.
that people think, oh,
Yeah, he doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
I do, but I don't call every week,
yeah,
and I might say no when they want to come over or ask for some help, or
Yeah.
It might be yes, it might be no, it might be I don't know. Where from the conditioned perspective, you always have to say yes.
Yeah, because we are friends.
We are friends, so
They're always 24 hours a day.
yes. And of course, when there's really something going on, and Eric, my best friend, calls, I will be in the car in 5 minutes, even though you're here, because I gotta help him. Maybe I'll ask you to come along. When it's really something, yeah, but sometimes, well, we make music together, Eric and me, and sometimes he is calling, he has a new idea. Great. And I know he would like to visit within a few days. Well, we make an appointment for in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I know he doesn't like to wait that long. I get that. But I don't feel like making music now.
Yeah. People could say that is egocentric.
Yeah, sure. And they may.
Is that the case?
No, not for me. But everybody has the right of his own opinion, obviously. If I don't feel music, there is no point in coming together and fake music.
Yeah.
I might like to see him.
Yeah.
So I told him for our next appointment, come on and bring your stuff and we'll listen to what you made. But I don't think we're gonna do something.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll have a walk.
Also
That's
nice.
also nice.
Yeah.
And he knows me for like 30 years, so he knows what has changed and what not.
Mm.
So he's okay with it. But some people had a hard time with me not playing in the conventional expected roles.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's about honesty, Hans.
That's quite important, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. When you dare to be honest with yourself, that's a huge step already.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it translates to being honest to.
Yeah, which does not mean, by the way, and that are mistakes I made in the past, and maybe still other ones have to judge that you always have to say what you think.
Yeah. For example, if I would ask you, what do you think about my new vest I'm wearing?
Yeah, then I wouldn't say what I think.
Well, I still think it's a beautiful vest. No, but I know what you mean. Do you still follow a little bit of rules we made into society?
No, it's not like that. But it's not about being unkind.
Hmm.
So if I see that you are happy with your sweater or vest or whatever, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion about it.
No.
So when you're happy about it, I'll say, "Oh, glad you're happy about it."
Yeah. Yeah. We've been talking now for more than 20 minutes. We haven't used all the terms out of the Advaita world.
Good.
Yeah, you like that. Am I sitting here with an Advaita teacher, or what?
That's what I'm called.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and other ones say that I'm not true to the teaching. Well, whatever.
yeah, maybe we could call you a freedom teacher from now on then, because freedom is a word that, you know, when I speak about it, even in English, it gives me a sense of joy. Freedom, it associates with vacation and being free and not bound, and I can do anything. So yeah, Advaita. Everybody who's watching this movie knows it's about the wholeness or the oneness. Is that right?
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that term, but
What would you use?
reality, completeness, silence, freedom.
Mm-hmm. Am I talking to myself right now?
Yes. There's only you.
Yeah, that immediately brings up. I don't want to fill it in, but okay, we're filming this. It gives me goosebumps when you say that.
Okay, good.
Is that because I know deep down inside that
Yes.
that is the truth?
Everybody does.
Yeah.
And everybody longs for it and fears it.
Okay, that longing part I can understand, but the fear is why?
Fear of freedom. Again, when you follow rules, you know what you have to do. And you know how you're supposed to behave, and you will be a good member of the herd. When you're free,
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You have to figure it out on your own, in the moment. There are no rules. Anything goes. It's impossible to dramatize. It's impossible to complain. It's impossible to worry.
Yeah.
So who the fuck am I if I cannot worry or have goals in the future or be ambitious, or all the normal stuff is absent. So you're not, freedom isn't giving you anything, it takes everything away, you could say. That is scary for people. It almost feels like dying. I think it's over dramatizing stuff, because I don't feel dead at all. And I know that everything that is perceived is temporary, and everything that is perceived is basically me. It's all an extension of me, not the person. The Hans character doesn't, you know, it's not important. But everything perceived is also me. And the silence and that which is perceiving everything, it's whole.
So even if I take your house and your car away, you still think, well, it's now...
I don't know what I would think, but it wouldn't disturb the completeness.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if somebody tries to steal your or my car,
No.
that I will sit by and go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nee.
Because, again, there are no rules.
Yeah.
I might be fierce, or start to laugh, or, well, we're living in a forest, I might break off a branch and, okay, you take it, I break your arm.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Or you could think, well, it was a stupid car anyway, let him have it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about a colleague of yours where I stay sometimes, Joannika, her whole farm.
Yeah, it burned down.
Burned down.
It was a beautiful place. Yeah.
And she was standing there, I was thinking, oh, look at the flames. Look how the paper is dancing on the flames. But the police officer standing next to her was saying, ma'am, you have to go inside, you're going insane.
Yeah.
And she said, hey, keep your fears to yourself, I'm enjoying the show.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But later on, she got into a lot of trouble with also the insurance company, because they thought, well, this woman has said such crazy stuff when her farm was burning down.
She probably lit it herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's the ego versus the freedom. And the ego, the fear factor, can never understand a liberated being. Same thing happened to Osho, a guy, I was told, threw a knife at him at a seminar or whatever it was called. And he just moved to the side and the knife missed him and he kept talking. So the police said that didn't happen. Because you should be scared or angry or react to that.
Yeah. Great. So okay, how is it for you as freedom living in a world full of persons who are anxious and fearful all the time? Is this a great place to be then?
Yes. For a while. So there are basically two perspectives. From an absolute standpoint, there are no other creatures, so nobody's suffering. And that is not a thing, an opinion, that is something felt in the background. On the other hand, because consciousness moves, we talked about emotions earlier, consciousness moves towards things, so consciousness also moves toward people who are suffering. That's why the door is open, I guess, and I do what I do, because basically there's no reason to do it. It's all one anyway, to keep it simple. Still, this meeting capacity, moving towards things, is there. So this organism is just used to touch, with result or without result, to try to touch people, and maybe something happens.
Is this freedom, how do you call it, like radioactive stuff? Is it very contagious?
Only to those who are ready. So Ramana Maharshi used a way of explaining that. He said, say I am fire, and somebody comes along who is a wet block of wood, it will not catch fire immediately, it has to dry first.
Yeah.
But if somebody brings a handful of straws, it will ignite immediately.
Yeah.
So that all depends. So some people come here and they think, I don't get what the guy is talking about. Other people will be quiet almost immediately. Some people will get what I'm saying in 10 minutes, and others will come years on end
Yeah.
to meetings or private sessions. And to me, it's all good.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference. There's no judgment. There's not the thought that a handful of straw is higher than a wet block of
Yeah.
wood. Although, if the block of wood is still too wet, I might say, go do yoga for a year, or travel the world, or get a job, or stop your job.
Yeah.
You know, the organism we're talking about will have to have different experiences before being ready.
So that's the way to get dry.
Yeah, you have
Go
to
into
get
the
dry.
world. Is it then about getting experience, or losing your old karma? What is it about? How to
Not
get dry?
necessarily karma, but in some cases, when the wood is wet,
Mhm.
some changes need to be made,
Hmm.
some different experiences.
Yeah.
So if somebody is closing himself off and sitting in his room,
Yeah.
I might advise him to go out.
Yeah.
Go out into the world, travel,
Yeah.
get a job, start performing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're scared of people, or you know, when some other one is constantly filling his space with a lot of people, I might advise him to sit for 6 months on the top of a mountain in a cabin without a cell phone, and you know,
Yeah.
just be with himself.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah. So if a very important banker sits here on the couch and he's feeling miserable, you could say, stop your banking job.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Yeah. And do people follow your advice?
Usually not.
They think
The,
they know
the, the
better.
wet blocks
Yeah.
usually don't, but still a seed is planted.
Hmm.
So usually they won't immediately do what is suggested, but it's in the system now.
Yeah.
And if there's a small recognition, it will start to grind, and
Yeah.
you know.
It cannot be stopped.
No, but it can be postponed very long, but
Yeah.
something will occur. People don't walk through this door just by chance, you know. They already experienced some stuff. Maybe they had a glimpse of truth, or they're in a crisis or whatever, or they read something.
Yeah. Or in my case, tried out everything in the world.
Hmm.
Except for gambling, I tried out everything in very massive states. Well, gambling and drugs I didn't do, but and then you come to a point you think this
Yeah.
will not work anymore.
Yes, exactly. So that's a ripening, and that has to occur. And well, you reach that state by living, by
Yeah.
experiencing things, by going for things and seeing this is not it.
Yeah,
So good for you.
yeah.
Next level.
It's exactly what your former colleague Alexander Smith says. You have to be filthy rich once. You have to be poor as a street rat.
Hmm.
Just go out and
Exactly.
explore those.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then you know. And
Yeah.
then the moment can come that the attention, who is always outward, can go in looking for the essence, for the truth within.
yeah. There are some college teachers of yours who say, well, and I don't know if you agree with them, or if you say that life will bring you these things. You don't have to sit and wait for big things to occur.
Hmm.
They occur all the time.
Basically, they do.
So it doesn't have to be, we're now talking about big things, being rich, being poor, but can it also be in waiting in line in the supermarket
Yes, of course.
and getting agitated and thinking, what a stupid supermarket?
Hmm.
That's also,
Yes, everything points towards the duality of being free or being not.
mhm,
And both things will be put constantly in our face.
mhm,
And at a certain moment, we'll be aware enough to notice the difference. Hey, this is strange. I was in line waiting, and I felt good.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I felt like killing the cashier. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, or other things, little things that you feel during life drop away, that you always used to be sad about this, and now you're perfectly cool with it.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that nothing will touch you anymore.
No, surely not.
You
But
still.
there won't be any resistance. So from a freedom standpoint, strange language, there still can be feelings and being touched by something or moved, but there's no resistance. So it goes through the system exactly as it wants to move through the system, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much time.
So still, when you watch a movie, you can get emotional during a scene where some dog dies, or
Yeah, especially something like that.
okay, because some people think, well, this Advaita stuff, this is about shutting off your feeling and just
No.
being like a robot all the time.
No, absolutely not. It's the falling away of the resistance
Yeah.
and the judgments. So if the system has to be sad right now, it will be allowed to be sad. And then it will be gone again. But the sadness will not be felt as a problem or something bad or negative.
Something to
Because-
get rid of. Yeah.
No, exactly. Because basically, emotions are energy. A guy I know said, emotion is energy, emotion.
Yeah.
That's nice. So, whether it's a red energy or a blue energy, it's energy. There is no negative energy.
Mhm.
You know, but from the ego standpoint, happiness or love or attention will be seen as positive, and sadness and jealousy will be labeled negative.
Yeah.
From consciousness standpoint,
All the same.
it's just energy moving.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. Another thing that is talked about frequently in these Advaita circles is the free will. People I hang around with,
Mhm.
not saying everybody. Can you tell us something about that, Hans? Did I come out of free will here to talk to you in English?
No, of course not.
It just happened.
Yes, it happened because of a lot of movements and happenings in the past, which put you on this path.
For example, me learning English in school.
That's a part of it. And what you earlier said, trying out this, trying out that, and it all didn't work. And then at some point, non-duality came in view, and you started to look into that, and you discovered that I and some other people were talking about that. You didn't control that. You didn't decide when you were 8, when I don't know what you're 80, 41, I'm gonna sit with Hans and have a little chat in English. I didn't either.
No. I think I would call you crazy if you told me this is at 21. In 20 years you're going to do interviews about something called Advaita.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that says...
It just occurs.
Yeah.
All kinds of energies are moving us in different directions. And everybody knows this. You're walking in the street and suddenly you see somebody and you're struck by lightning. And you go after him or her. And because you do, and you start living together, and you may have kids, you move to another place, you meet new people. Did you do that? It happened.
Yeah. No doer.
No doer. And free will, when you feel will, I want this, it's not free, it's force.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know, so of course there is will
Yeah.
or wanting something, but it's not free.
No.
It overcomes you, or it gets you, and you have to
Yeah. It's
be a
pulley.
soccer player, or you have to steal the camera, or whatever it is.
That is what most people tell you when they're full of something. They say, I couldn't do otherwise.
Voila.
It had to be done.
Yes. So there is
Yeah.
no free will. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Still, the jails are full of people who have been told that it's their fault.
Yes. That's the way we organize things.
Yeah.
Because it's all from the separate perspective. So when we think we're all separate beings, you're responsible.
Yeah.
I get that. So when I'm driving with the car and I drive into somebody, I will not say, there's nobody here and it's all consciousness moving. I will say sorry.
Yeah.
Or asshole,
Yeah.
you had to let me go, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever comes. But I won't make an Advaita excuse.
No.
Because nobody thinks like that. You know, and when everybody would think, it won't happen, but would think like that, I wouldn't have to explain anything.
Yeah. Still, I can imagine that you are quite a popular Advaita teacher, or giving meetings. A lot of people come to you, and they think, or maybe they do, look up to you.
Yeah.
They think,
Yeah.
he's the man that represents freedom for me.
Yeah.
I have to be near him all the time. I have to visit all his meetings, read all his books. What would you say to someone like that?
It's irrelevant what I try to say, because they will still perceive me as they perceive me. But often in satsang or in meetings, I say, you don't know nothing about me. You only see me when I perform, when I'm on duty, being the teacher. But I'm not a teacher. The teacher is a role.